Got the declaration. Thank you, Brian.
Go good, all right.
Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as of March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit thelocalscene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. I'm calling the Monday, July 20th, 2026 meeting of the Select Board to order. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is open forum. We'll start with the board. Fernando?
I have nothing.
Cindy?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is I've heard a lot of comments from residents around town, from all different areas of town, about their neighbors watering. And, I suggested they call Mark, and they don't want to, rat on their neighbors or whatever. So I don't know what, except to really urge people not to. And that, it's a real hazard, safety hazard, if somebody's house goes on fire, and we don't have enough water for the fire department to put it out, so that's that. And the other thing was, I've been getting, I think we all have, a lot of comments from people about the bridge, pro and con, and I thank you all for that, and I just hope that more people will do that. To email us at our Outlook address and let us know what you think about the bridge. That's all.
Well put.
Brian?
Briefly, as I had shared with the members of the board earlier, we've been notified that Duxbury will be receiving a special guest on Friday, the 24th. The Speaker of the British House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, will be visiting Duxbury for about an hour to see some sites that are of particular importance to him. He'll be visiting Massachusetts. I think he's coming from Boston and then swinging further down to the South Shore. But there's a couple of things he asked to see in Duxbury. I understand he represents the district in England where Miles Standish was from, which is the connection. So I've connected with the Clipper and the local scene, and as I mentioned to all of you, you're all invited to the visit with details to come. They're still in development.
Are members of the public invited to attend, or is...
Well, we'll be in public areas,
Okay.
so folks can certainly come along.
Do you know where we'll be at what time?
That's what's being
Okay.
nailed down right now, yeah.
So will that go on to the town website before Friday, so that if people are interested?
I don't know. I'll let Rainey know,
Okay.
and he can post it wherever it is. I'll have a call tomorrow with the British consulate to nail some of
Sure.
these things down.
Great,
That's it.
thank you.
Okay.
I have one thing under open forum, which is just kind of a follow-up. I'm hoping that during the town manager's report, that we can get an update, not this week, or if you're not prepared this time for the next meeting, but an update on how we are doing with the update of the town website. How that's going. I'm very interested in getting our packets put out to the public at the same time we do prior to the meeting, so people can follow along. So if we could get an update, that would be great.
I'll quickly respond to that now. If there was going to be an update, Mike's on vacation this week,
Okay.
but I'll have it for you for the next week.
Okay, great, thank
Because I know
you.
you had asked the same.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Okay, anyone from the public for open forum? Alicia?
Hi, Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. I am here to talk briefly about the bridge. There is indisputable evidence that the bridge is repairable from both Dr. Tingley and from the peer review done by SGH. It's clear that the cost to do that is significantly less than what MassDOT has proposed. It's clear that the message of a free bridge is not in fact free. It's coming out of taxpayer pockets, and it's becoming clearer that the long-term consequences of maintenance will be overwhelmingly difficult, not only to perform but to fund. And we cannot saddle our children with this. It is clear that there will be meaningful environmental implications. And it is clear that the community wants to keep the bridge and the heritage it provides to Duxbury. What is not clear is, where are you? Where is our select board? It is up to you to support what the community wants. What are you waiting for? In your absence, the responsibility of protecting the most important piece of infrastructure the town owns has fallen to a group of concerned citizens. We have been carrying the weight of protecting our bridge from the unthinkable demolition. When are you going to decide to join the effort and help us before it's too late? The time has come. It's now. So I'm here to request 4 things, please. That you formally provide a letter of support to save Powder Point Bridge and the Historical Commission. 2, that you formally grant the Bridge Advisory Group and the Historical Commission the authority to pursue any and all avenues to protect the bridge from demolition, including filing for a 106. 3, that you authorize Mary McKinnon to do a funding analysis of rehabilitation using the assistance of Megan Barber as a resource. And 4, that you do not wait 2 weeks to do this at your next meeting. I think this warrants immediate action, and request that the Select Board please find time toward the end of this week, preferably before the Advisory Committee meets on Friday, to schedule a time for you to meet, discuss, and vote on these things. Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question, Alicia? Only because I had sent you an email earlier today. Do you know if anybody has filed a Section 106 application yet?
The bridge group, I have not reached out to them in the last couple of days, so I don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
But if you would like to make that an item on the next agenda, I'm sure that, they would be happy to come and discuss where that is at.
Oh, no, I had just sent an email to you and Frank and
Okay.
Ed, and I had a response from Ed, but he wasn't sure either.
Oh, okay. I am not sure either.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
In regards to the agenda this evening and
Yeah.
moving forward,
Sorry.
we did have a agenda item planned for this evening, which is now off. So our timeline for bridge discussions has been altered.
Yes, may I expand?
Please.
You're absolutely right. In my conversations with Ed Mayo about what he thought it would be, let me back up. The initial idea was to have Ed come in on behalf of the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee to present a recommendation to the board in terms of where they stood on that project. However, since that time, a letter has been written, signed by the board, and sent to Mass DOT, and we expect to have a response to that letter in which 9 different points were raised. And it seemed more apropos to both Ed and I, and you agreed, that we would benefit from having the DOT response before the advisory committee made a recommendation, because there are things in there that are important
Right,
to
so
everybody.
the timeline is
Yeah,
shifted.
so it got pushed back a little bit, and that's fine.
So can you, just for the public, kind of let us know what our new timeline is? When will we be hearing from, we're going to be
Sure.
hearing from Mass DOT, then our advisors?
Well, yeah, here's the way it's working right now. So originally, we were going to have the meeting tonight to talk about their recommendation. We anticipate having that Mass DOT response within the next few days. The Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee will want time to review that letter, and the board will get it at the same time, to review that letter and then comment on it, and then they may have a recommendation at that time. However, there's a new cog in the wheel, in that it's my understanding that either a 106 application, appeal application may be filed or may not, but we're not sure, because I just asked Alicia, and Ed wasn't aware either, if one has been filed or not. So that could pause the project for a length of time. So, and why am I mentioning that? Because originally DOT was planning on having their fourth public forum over at the school on or about July 29th. So that may push that date back as well.
Okay, so is the July 29th, because we had two benchmark
I have to confirm
agenda
that.
items. One tonight was the advisory, but they're pushed back until we hear from MassDOT, which we're uncertain as to whether we'll be July 29th or not.
Correct. So we're waiting, I need to confirm that with MassDOT.
Okay.
Because that's their thing, their public process.
Okay, so maybe it would make sense, and I can talk to you about getting an agenda item on for us, because when we last discussed the historic designation, we pushed that to the future, not knowing, waiting
Waiting
for
to see
something.
how MassDOT
Maybe we
responded.
should need a benchmark agenda item so that we can discuss it. So we can talk about getting that on as soon as possible.
Of course.
Okay. Anything else under open forum? Yes, sir. Mr. Brennan.
Brennan, 100 Myrtle Street. The previous person speaking to the bridge said that she wants to put you under a time frame or a timeline to make a decision, which is outrageous. This is a serious decision that you people have to make. This is not going in front of the town for a vote. If it was going to the town for a vote, it would be history. It would not go through. You need to have as much time as you can spare to make this decision. It's important, it's a financial responsibility for you, because the taxpayer is going to wind up paying for this instead of getting a bridge that's free. So I don't understand why there's a time frame. I suggest that you take as much time as you need to do it. Thank you.
Wait, no. These are open forums. You're not going to reply. You can reply to that statement?
Well,
It
no,
is a-
I just want to make sure that I
let's-
was clear with you, the select board, that I was not requesting that you take a vote on the bridge. I was simply requesting that you pursue a 106 to protect the bridge. I mean, if the town doesn't know, if you're not clear on where the town stands, maybe that goes to a special town meeting, I don't know. But that's not what I was requesting.
Okay, I understand. I think we all understand what Alicia was requesting, and I wrote it down so that, and Ashley have it on the tape. Okay, thank you. Anyone else under open forum this evening? Okay, hearing none. First item under new business is a vote regarding a change of manager request for the Windsor House Inn and Restaurant. I'm going to ask, this is going to be presented by Jess Cagle, Director of On-Site Hospitality and Retail at Island Creek Oysters. And I'm going to step out just because of, I'm going to recuse myself on this discussion, and Fernando is going to chair for a moment.
So the previous liquor license manager has resigned. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, ABCC, requires approval from the Select Board as a local license authority for a change of manager. Advertising and abutter notices are not required. All right, so all required documentation has been submitted. The Corey, $200 filing fee, payment, vote of the entity, monetary transmittal form, and proof of citizenship. Yeah, so can you just kind of enlighten us to what is going on?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Matt McQuillan was the previous manager of record for the Windsor House. He is now running our location in Boston. And we've replaced him with Jason Kuhl, who's the new general manager.
Okay. Seems pretty straightforward. Any questions from the board?
No.
No, I was just happy to see that the proposed manager, Mr. McCool, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, appears 6 or 7 years' worth of experience in prior management in other capacities. So I was happy to see that it's not just somebody new, that
No.
it's somebody with experience.
Okay.
You good?
All right, so with no further questions from the board, may I have a motion, please?
Sure. I move that the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, approves the change of manager to new manager Jason Cool for Pros Only LLC, DBA Windsor House Inn and Restaurant, located at 390 Washington Street, license number 05868-HT-0300, subject to the requirements of the ABC Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. Amy?
I just hit dinner there Friday. It was delicious. It's a new menu.
Oh, yeah?
All right. While we let our chair sit and get comfortable once more,
Comfy,
how about
comfy.
the next item on the agenda is a call for state primary elections presented by Susan Kelly, our town clerk.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Susan.
This first item is a procedural vote for you to call in state elections, so I did provide a motion to Ashley, and she has copies of the warrant for you to sign after the meeting is over. So unless you have any questions about the primary on September 1st, Tuesday, at the Still Building, I will leave that you to.
No, I have no questions. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
No? Okay, I move
The
that,
public have any questions?
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I move the Select Board directs the constable or town clerk of the town of Duxbury to notify and warn the inhabitants of Duxbury who are qualified to vote in the state primary election to vote at precincts 1 through 6 at Lieutenant Timothy J. Steele Athletic Building, located at 130 St. George Street, Duxbury, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, the first day of September 2026, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Now you're
Okay.
going to discuss some locations and
For early.
Hours.
Voting in person. Yes, and I'd like to actually take a moment, this is sort of tied to the in-person early voting, because we receive sometimes applications from people to vote by mail, and they end up coming to vote in person, which is fine if you change your mind. But I just wanted to let people know that any voter who was on our rolls as of June 20th of this year should have received a postcard. And we've processed about 800 of them today. And if I could just take a brief moment for a public service announcement on this. For people who have chosen to vote all elections, if they are enrolled in a party, Democrat or Republican, which are the only two ballot styles this year, their postcard will state that that's the ballot they will receive. If a voter is enrolled in as unenrolled, formerly known as independent, or in a political designation, their postcard under the section with the election dates will have a box that they are required to fill out where they select a Democrat or Republican ballot. We received a large number today where people didn't check that off. If they provide their phone number or an email, we will reach out to them, but if they don't tell us which ballot they would like for the primary, they won't receive one because we don't know what they will want to vote. So I'll move on from that, but I just did want to mention that. Early voting is required, in-person early voting for the primary from Saturday, August 22nd through Friday, August 28th. And that's held during our normal business hours with at least 6 hours over the weekend. The weekend hours that Duxbury is required, based on our population, we're required to offer a minimum of 6 hours in person. So I am proposing to offer 6 hours on Saturday, August 22nd, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the voting will be here at Town Hall at our office. We will not be offering hours on Sunday. The weekday office hours, we are required to offer in-person early voting during our normal business hours. As we anticipate receiving hundreds, we've already, as I said, received 800 ballot requests in addition to serving the people who are voting in person. I will be adjusting the town clerk's office hours a little bit on each end, so we will open every day at 9. Mondays we will close at 6, for office hours. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will close at 3, and Friday at 12:30. And that will give us an hour on each end of the day where we can process the ballots and prepare for the next morning. Obviously, if somebody comes in with an emergent issue outside of a voting issue, we will help them because we will be in the office from 8 to 9 and at the end of the day. But by changing our office hours, that will allow us to set the hours for early voting in person for Monday, 9 to 6, Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 3, and then Friday from 9 to 12. And that way we can process in the morning and in the afternoon. Let's see, I think that was all that I had specifically about that. If you have any questions.
So if
about
you're
the
one of the
hours.
folks that didn't check the affiliation to a party,
Yep.
and you're expecting to get your ballot in the mail,
Yep.
but because you didn't check the box and you're not getting it, what should they do? Should they come in?
So
or-
there are several ways that they can remedy that. As I said, if people do put their phone number on the card, we will call them. We do check our dog database to see if we have a phone number or email. And if we do, then we will reach out that way. As time permits, we will send a letter, but given mail is taking a week sometimes to get even inside of Duxbury, if people have not received an application, they can certainly apply through the Secretary of State's website. They have a portal. They can Google Vote by Mail Massachusetts, and when I tried it, the first item that popped up was the Secretary of State's website with an online application, and they would just click that, follow the link, and they can vote, apply to get a vote by mail that way. They can also email us or call us. We can mail them something, or they would be able to come in early in person, or of course on election day.
Okay, so there's lots of options.
Lots of
All right,
options.
thank you. Questions for Susan?
No?
No. Anyone from the public have questions? I'll take a motion.
I move that the Select Board authorize the change of location of the polls from Lieutenant Timothy J. Steele Athletic Building, 130 St. George Street, Duxbury, to the Town Hall, Town Clerk's Office, 878 Tremont Street, for early in-person voting only for the state primary during the following dates and times. Saturday, August 22nd from 9 to 3. There'll be no in-person on Sunday, the 23rd. Monday, August 24th from 9 to 6. Tuesday through Thursday, August 25th through 27th from 9 to 3. And Friday, August 28th from 9 to noon.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you.
We have a discussion and vote pertaining to water abatements, which I think we have to enter in as water commissioners.
I move that the Select Board adjourn the meeting in order,
We didn't do this one.
I think,
oh no, don't.
didn't you read into the record we did this first, the call for the primary election?
Yeah, we did that.
Oh, we did
Yeah,
that.
we did that. Yep.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know that, hold on. I don't know that we need to be water commissioners.
We don't have to
Hold on,
adjourn
new
as select
business,
board members and go in
Yeah, I
as
guess you
water.
do. Yeah.
commissioners.
Okay,
We
so
do.
sorry.
Yes.
Do for the abatements, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
move that the Select Board adjourn the meeting in order to meet as water and sewer commissioners with the intent of reconvening as a Select Board afterward.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Fernando?
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Cindy, aye.
Brian, aye.
Okay. We are now water commissioners, and this is a continued discussion on one of the, I think it was 3 abatements that we talked about, and the homeowner had to leave that night and asked that we bumped it to the next agenda. Correct, Mark?
Yes.
So could you walk us through this one?
The 566 Bay Road?
Yeah, so we have 3, there were 3 of them on tonight, and that's one of them, right? So
Yep.
there's 2 additional. Okay, I'm sorry. You can go through them as you see fit.
Okay. Mark Cloud, Water and Sewer Superintendent. 54 West Street. we got a reading and the bill came out to $42,239. We did some further investigation and found out that when the house was purchased, the final reading was improper. It wasn't correct, so we're asking for an abatement. And the new bill would be $892.02. That was an administrative error.
How did you figure out how much to charge them? Was there a methodology?
We went back and saw what the final reading should have been, and then subtracted the current reading to recalculate it.
Okay, thank you.
Must have been jaw-dropping.
The next abatement request is 566 Bay Road. Unfortunately, I was not able to find any errors with that reading. It just appears to be a high usage, possibly a leak, I'm not sure. I can't recommend any abatement for that property. And the last one is 10 Sanger Road. He's requesting a hardship. There was a ill parent in the house and didn't realize that the bills were coming in and that water was being used. He got a bill of $4,000.82, $4,082.95. He's requesting that we use the last 3 previous bills, and the total water abatement would be $2,770.30.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark, can you just go through, how did you calculate, was this water used or not used?
The 4,000, which one?
The last one, the
The last
Sanger
one.
Road, sorry.
The water was used,
The water was used?
yes.
He's just asking, so how did you calculate?
We used the last 3 previous water bills.
Yeah.
To get, and got an average of what he used during that period.
I
I'm
don't
still-
see,
I don't-
I don't
I don't
understand either.
understand.
Why would you
Well,
need
we
an
look back-
average if the bill was used?
Yeah.
If the water was used, what are we averaging?
What he typically used during the same time periods. So he's asking for a hardship because of an elderly parent that was in the hospital during that period of time.
Hey, what was the issue, though? Was the water left, like a hose left on, or like what was?
We're not quite sure. I think the house was empty part of the time because the individual was in the hospital.
But wouldn't that mean that they'd use less water?
Right.
I'm
Yeah, well,
confused.
something's going on. There was definitely a problem, but he's saying that nobody was in the house to know that there was an issue, and he didn't know that the bills were coming in.
Well, we all know that we have to pay for the water that we use, and we're all paying more
Right.
and more.
Madam Chair, may I inquire?
Please.
So,
Yeah.
of the 3 requests, the first one was an administrative error.
Yep.
The second one was not an administrative error, it was a request. And I guess when you and Sheila and Rainey looked at, this is the second one, this is Bay Road, you suggested no, an abatement should not be granted, I presume on the grounds that the water was used.
Yes, I couldn't find a reason to support that abatement.
Okay, so.
And there was a history, I think, just to add to
Yeah.
that, there was a history of high usage, correct?
Yep.
So I'm the owner.
Oh, no?
No, not yet.
But yeah,
So with respect to the last one, where the water was used, I guess I'm unclear as to, I think our baseline is almost always, if the water's used, you get to pay for it.
Yeah, so that was
Unless there's some, if it was a meter issue or a break or something like that. Here, I guess I'm just not clear on what the grounds would be for an abatement if the water was used. It sounds like it was somebody was elderly and wasn't paying attention, is that what I'm? But I guess how was the water used, though? I mean, was somebody filling a pool next door, or?
Yeah,
It's,
I'm not
like-
sure. This was a request by the homeowner's son.
Okay.
Is there a process, maybe not within the water department, for someone with, financial difficulties to go? I don't know if it's the assessors or the town manager, or maybe Rainey knows this, but is there a process outside of an individual department where someone can request some accommodation due to financial hardship?
For some things, yes. In fact, you see a lot with ambulance billing. A lot of hardship, not a lot. There are a few hardship applications that come through over the course of a year. The other is to use the King Caesar Fund, but those are related more to personal medical issues
yeah.
as opposed to water bills.
Isn't there a
that.
fund that does like heating, fuel, and that sort of thing that this might fall under?
Through the Council on Aging, I mean, years ago, I don't know if it still exists, but they had Joe for Oil. You probably remember that a long time ago. But maybe, I'm not aware.
I thought there was.
I would hope, but I also, know the burden on everyone right now to pay for the water and the increasing costs of the water and the mitigation that we're going to have to do for PFAS. So I think Brian said it, kind of summed it up, that if it's been the board's practice that if the water is used, unfortunately, the resident has to pay.
South Shore Community Action Council.
And they may be able to get some reimbursement, so it may be one of those things where, you pay the town, and then maybe you can seek reimbursement through some of these programs that a homeowner could apply for, and, certain income eligibilities will allow them to recover some of those costs. I would hope for that.
It might also be, no, that's a food pantry.
Does the board have any questions for Mark?
I just want to ask one last time, Mark.
Oh, sure.
I want to be really clear here, right? The water at, let me just,
Sanger.
let me get the name of the road. Sorry about this, right? At 10 Sanger Road, the water metings are correct,
Yes, yes,
and the bill in the amount of over $4,000 is a correct calculation of that water usage.
yes.
Thank you.
Further questions from the board?
Just that they can contact the senior center, and they will help complete and submit applications to the South Shore Community Action Council.
So that's a great resource to be able to tell the homeowner at Sanger that they can reach out to the Council on Aging, and there's forms that they can submit, and I'm sure that will reimburse them for the bill that they have to pay the town.
There's
So
also the Duxbury Rotary Good Neighbor Fund is a possibility, and that's something that we,
Yep. So there are resources available, which is a good thing. Further questions from the board?
Not on Sanger Road, but I'd like to hear about 566 Bay Road.
Yep. Ma'am?
I'm so sorry to have interrupted you. I
okay.
haven't done this before, so.
We have your
That's
name and
all right.
address for the record?
I'm sorry?
Your name and address for the record,
Yep, I'm
please.
Rebecca Morani, and I am the property owner of 566 Bay Road. And I am just coming here to talk about the high water bill that I received. I don't know of any history of past high water bills. In fact, I think 10,000 gallons is what our family typically uses. Today, we're a family of two living in our property. This had 451,000 gallons that was supposedly used in a 5-month time frame. What had happened is when I received the first bill, I called the town to just say, hey, we have a really high water bill and I don't have any leaks. I don't have any reason to explain this, and nothing in my household has changed. They came and looked for a leak and confirmed that they also did not see a leak. Pam, I think her name is, from the water department, then called me back and she said, hey, your usage is still very high. We're going to send someone down and replace the meter. So they came in December and replaced the meter. And since then, our usage has returned to under 10,000 a month. I can't tell you that the meter was broken, and I can't tell you why we have this usage of water. I can share there's been no changes in my household that would suggest this. So I can't explain why we have this water bill. I'm just here to, as a like responsible property owner, if I'm going to pay $5,000, which is a lot of money for my family, I at least have to come and ask where that 450,000 gallons of water went. So that's really why I'm here, and I appreciate you guys hearing me out.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, you had referenced in the paperwork some past high usage bills. So do we have that data that you can share?
Yeah, so the $5,000 isn't from a one-time usage. It's an
Okay.
accumulation of unpaid bills.
Okay.
So back in November of 2024, which was the end of, covers the summer usage, it was a $1,600 bill.
Okay, and that wasn't paid?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't believe so. And then the usage dropped back down again for April of 25, August of 25.
What was the April 25 bill? It was less than the 1,600?
$241.
Okay, so that's the winter uses versus summer, yep.
Then in August, there's a $235 bill, so that's when we went to quarterly billing. And then in November of 25, it was a $3,672 bill.
Is there a swimming pool at this location?
I'm not aware of one.
What was that November again?
Then in
3672.
February of 26, the bill was $1,227. So it's accumulation of a bunch of high bills.
Was the meter for this location kept after it was swapped out?
Was it what?
Did the department keep the meter, or did you dispose of the meter?
It's probably been disposed at this time.
Okay, so it wasn't tested?
No. We generally don't test them. Meters slow down over time, so they don't speed up.
Slow down meaning it'd count less water rather than
Yes.
more?
Yeah.
And where in the timeline was the meter switched? What was the date of the switching of the meter?
Um,
December.
I believe it was in April of 2025.
That's not correct. December of 2025 is when it was switched out.
It was switched twice, right?
It was switched, you guys came and switched it at some point right when I bought the property. And then you switched it out for this issue with these high bills. Was
Okay,
December of 25.
So people at home can't hear this discussion, so it's important that we have people at the podium when they're speaking, because the folks at home can only hear one side of the conversation. And so we just learned that the meter was switched out in December of 2025, and yet there was still a February 26. So from November 2025, that was where the water usage was 3672. Then a month later in December, the water meter was switched. And then in February 26, there was still quite a high bill. So for those 2 months, there was another $1,227 in water use. So they're still consistently high.
You can go up to the, go right up.
The podium.
Before she does, Mark, can I ask you a question before she comes up, because then she could maybe answer it. Did you say that some of these water bills were unpaid?
Yes.
Yes, that's how the bill got so high.
Okay, so,
I have the bills right here. All of the bills have been paid. I've never once not paid a bill. I have a credit score of 850, so no question on bills. The bill that we're talking about in the usage is over 2 quarters. That's over quarter 3 and quarter 4. What had happened is in quarter 3, when I got the bill, I called and said, there's a problem, and I'd like to put this bill on hold until we figure it out. Then they came and looked and said, no leak. In December of 2025, they came and replaced the meter. I asked the same question, did you test the meter? The answer is like, no, you had to pay for that. I said, no one told me I had to pay to test the meter. The bill that then came in, the next high bill, was for the balance of that quarter. So yes, we got it in February for $1,227, still unpaid, with a letter to the town asking to put this on pause until we could come to a conclusion. Since then, since the switch of the meter, it says right here that usage went right back down. So the only time that anything was unpaid or any large bills of water are coming in based on the bills I have in front of me was during that time period of Q3 and December. Once we hit December, the usage went back down. And honestly, I'm not here to try to get free water. I'm just here to make this reasonable, because to go from paying $79 or $100 a quarter to $5,000, it's not about unpaid bills. It's about 451,000 gallons of water that nobody can explain. And so I'm just trying to get an answer. And it just seems a little...
We are too. We're trying to
And it just
figure
seems a
out
little
what's going
odd
on.
that we replace a meter and all of a sudden usage just goes back to normal. So I'm just trying to get an answer, because at the end of the day, I'm being held responsible to pay for water that I never saw on my property.
Well, normal usage, though, February 26, you had a bill for
I didn't.
$1,227. That, I'd have a heart attack if I got that bill, so.
I have
that's a
that
high
because
bill.
it is where the leak was still happening, because that's a quarter bill. So you're seeing the time frame before the meter was changed. That's the rate that was coming in.
So you're saying you had a leak in your house?
I'm not saying we had a leak. I'm sorry, I meant when the meter came. There's been no changes in my house. If this bill would be helpful for you to see when the meter got changed to the actual bills, I'm happy to.
But we did just learn that the meter, if there was a faulty meter, it would typically register less water use. Didn't you ask that question, Brian?
However, I would say this is not typical. 451,000 gallons of water coming into a house is not a typical scenario.
You know what would be helpful for me?
What?
Is we're getting a lot of verbal information.
Yes.
And it would be helpful for me if I saw the actual bills going back.
Actually, Mark brought them. I anticipated that the board would want some hard data, and so
Yeah.
I did ask Mark to bring, does this help you? Mark, can you help us understand what we're looking at
So
here?
this was,
It's only one copy.
Yeah.
yeah, if we could, I mean, what I'd like to do, if I
Kick it
could,
down the road
is
again?
to kick it down the road
please.
again, and to get copies of all of it. And I'd like to see a copy of this, a copy of the bills that they received, a copy of their receipts saying they paid the bills, all, because we're getting two different stories, and, I don't want to,
We need the data.
Yeah, we need the data, because, we're not trying to be,
yeah, we want to do what's right, obviously, as do
water is
you.
such a big commodity right now, and such an expense to everyone,
Yeah.
that we just want to make sure that we're treating everyone fairly and treating everyone the same.
I can
So if we
appreciate
could
that for sure.
kick this down the road.
Before you go, Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes,
just
please.
ask, because I agree, something's fishy here, that we need to get to the bottom of it. But at the risk of asking you the obvious, can you just share with us some of the typical uses you have for water during the year? I know we asked about a swimming pool, that's usually a usual suspect. Do you have an irrigation
We
system?
do
that's
have
hoo-
an irrigation system.
Is that hooked up to town water? Well?
Yes, it would be hooked up to town water.
Okay.
However, that does get turned off typically in September, October timeframe. So I would be surprised that if that was off, that we would then still be having a water issue.
Okay.
And that's really, those are the scenarios we ran through. We do have irrigation. We have no pool. We have myself and my husband in the house now. We do have a son. I actually looked at his showers as a potential, because he's 19, he does shower. But we don't have an explanation for it. We just don't have an explanation for it, and that's why we're here. And I appreciate you guys listening to us, and happy to kind of lay out the data or have the town do that.
No, I agree. Fair is fair. If you use the water, you'll need to pay for it, but
Understood.
if something was broken, I'd hate to see you get stuck with a bill based upon faulty equipment. because we know that there has been faulty equipment. We talk about it every couple of months. We're swapping it out. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not prejudging, but I think there's more here. So I agree with my colleagues on the board
I
that we
will
need
say
more
I
info.
have been monitoring every month now to make sure, because I didn't even know that this was a thing necessarily, so I've learned my lesson. We monitor it every month, and we're not seeing any issues now. So the good news is, whatever the issue was, hopefully, we have a brand-new meter, and everything looks good. So I'm glad to report you won't likely find me here again.
And you have your irrigation turned off now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's is off.
Everybody's
Needs
is
to have
off.
their
If you're on
irrigation
town
off.
water,
We have a water
irrigation's
ban.
off.
Somebody's going to drive past 566 Bay Road and check, right?
Check how green your lawn is.
It is off.
Yeah.
But you have no swimming pool and you have no hot tubs or anything that could justify
I
this
did,
use?
but no, I do
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Mark,
you.
if
Mark.
you could speak to, I do have a question about, so if there was a problem with the meter or something from the where does it stop being the town's responsibility for a leak or usage and become the homeowners? Is it at the street? Is it at the meter? Can you explain
Anything
that?
that goes through the water meter belongs to the resident. When the water meter is the first thing inside the house.
Okay, so and where's the water meter in most people's houses? Inside?
Right inside the foundation,
Okay.
right where the water service line comes through the foundation, there's a valve, and then the water meter.
What about the line between the house and the street?
So the meter doesn't capture a leak out there.
But what if it's leaking? Then it wouldn't, I see what you're saying, it
You
wouldn't.
you
The
wouldn't
town
have
has
to
a
pay for it,
shut-off.
the town.
Located roughly 5 feet off the street, so we own up until that shut-off. Anything from the shut-off into the house is the resident's responsibility.
But it wouldn't
go through the meter,
go
though.
through the meter.
Right.
So you could have a leak, but you wouldn't be paying for it.
Correct.
Right.
That'd
But
be
you'd have to pay to
unaccounted for
repair
water.
it, but why would you if, well, that's
Doesn't
another,
matter, yeah.
that's whatever.
When this is really good data, so it'd be nice next time to provide it to all the board members. So what does rep mean? Type in this column, what does rep? Does that mean when the meter was replaced? There's a column that says type A, REP.
I believe it's residential. Is that what it's?
No, REP.
What is
P is in
REP?
Peter.
R for Romeo, E for Echo, P for Paul. What does that stand for?
I guess I'm not sure what.
You either get a type A or an REP.
Oh, that's probably the radio. What kind of radio it
Okay.
has?
All right. If you could put on it with this, maybe a graph or a table would be really, really good to try and see visually the usage. Yeah, if you
Okay.
could get that.
Yep.
We'll work it.
Okay,
All
and
right,
we'll
thank
put it
you.
on for a future agenda.
Yep.
Okay.
And the dates, the meters were replaced and have been replaced, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You know,
Could I get a motion for the other two?
Yep, just a moment, please. Let's see, Well, what have we decided to do about Sanger Road?
Basically have to pay. No abatement, that's what I heard.
Is there anyone here to speak to Sanger Road?
I move that the Water and Sewer Commissioners approve the water abatements in the amount of $42,239.88 plus a $25 late fee for 5-4 West Street, account number 940.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, unanimous.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
And we're going to do the other one, oh,
Yep.
so we just don't make a motion on that? And
Can we
is
just-
that how that goes?
You make it the affirmative and then vote it down.
Or
We
if
just
you
moved it
don't,
down the
Do
road.
nothing.
or if you do nothing, okay,
It's moot.
okay.
Oh,
Is it appropriate for me to speak on 54 West Street, or just for the town's knowledge, or just let it?
Oh, were you here for that, sir?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
hold on.
You just,
I'd like an abatement.
you just got your abatement, so do you? And you do-
Just say thank you and go home. No, you can speak, of course.
Run, no. If you'd like to speak, sir, that's fine.
I just wanted to make it known that this issue with my water bill has been going on for probably 4 years, which I think is an excessive amount of time for residents to. Historically, I've been receiving a zero usage bill. So for the last 7 iterations of the water bill, I received zero usage bill, which obviously I've questioned a long time. Now, when Mr. Cloud turned up at my house, I knew there was a problem. He presented me with a $43,000 bill. And for the past 5 weeks, I've been dealing emotionally with that. That was a huge shock to me. And the same, he said the same thing that you told these other people, that water used, you got to pay for it. So for the last 5 weeks, I've been trying to justify how the hell did I use 4 million gallons of water. I've engaged irrigation specialists, pool specialists. They didn't find a leak in my irrigation system. They did find a very small leak in my pool, but not 4 million gallons worth. Ultimately, it was up to me. I did all the groundwork on the bill. I was the one that did a forensic analysis going back to the beginning of my ownership of the house. And I found that my water meter reading went from 3,700 backwards to 1,700. And so I came into the office and I said to Mr. Cloud, is it possible for a water meter to go backwards? No, it's not possible, right? So not only did it go backwards, a couple of years later, it went to zero, right? And this water meter has not been replaced. It's the original water meter of the house. So essentially, this bill that I received was for 22 years worth of water, right? Going back to 2004. So I just think there should be some protection to the citizens that this can't happen. If you're going to give somebody a $43,000 bill, you've got to be damn sure that they use that water and that, all the historically it's correct, right? So up until last week, I was preparing myself to come to this meeting to have this abatement for $43,000, and you to say, sorry, you used the water, you got to pay for it, kind of thing. And then, I had this epiphany, and I started going through the bill, because everyone kept saying, you can't possibly have used 4 million gallons of water. It's enough to fill 200 swimming pools. It's enough that if you left a hose on for 1.5 years, right? That's the amount of water that we're talking about being used here. I think it's just, it's just not possible for a resident to use $43,000 worth of water, right?
But did you say, I just want to make sure I understand, did you just mention that you hadn't paid for 22 years? Have you paid your water bill throughout the years?
They're charging me for 22, so basically my water meter went back to zero. So they're charging me from a zero prior reading to the current reading, right? So,
but have you been paying your water bill along the way? And what is your average, what is that averaged out?
On top of that, the water bills that I have been paying, I've been overpaying, right? So I don't know what happened. I think my property got tied to somebody else's meter. I don't know how they can account for my water meter reading going from 3,700 down to 1,700, right? And then going forward, I paid the bills that I got. They were high, and I was kind of shocked by them, but I paid them. And to my benefit, that's been taken into account now, because they went back to when I bought the house. They have that meter reading, 3,818 was the meter reading when I bought the house. And they took that meter reading and they took today's meter reading, and they figured out how much water had been used. Then they subtracted what I paid. Now I'm only paying $800 for what is essentially 2 years worth of water usage. Because the prior bills that I've been paying, I was overpaying.
Right.
So I just wanted to just point out that, and that, there are problems with meters, and, up to last week, I thought I was going to have to pay $43,000, and I finally figured out myself. The town didn't figure it out. I figured it out, came to the town and said, look, this is what I see. And they were like, yeah, you're correct. We're really sorry.
So you're happy with the result now?
And
You're happy with the result now?
I'm happy with the result, but I've had costs.
Can you go back to the microphone again?
I am
Sorry.
happy with the result, but I had costs of, getting my irrigation checked out,
Yeah.
2 pool specialists.
Yep.
I consulted attorneys who did tell me that, mass law is for whatever water you use, you got to pay for. I had a lot of costs associated with that. It turns out was ultimately a town problem.
Well, we are trying to do our best. As you can see, luckily they found a leak in your pool. Hopefully it'll help pay for some of the costs that you've incurred, but, we all have to do our due diligence.
I have a
Raina.
comment. I actually had several conversations with Nigel about this. I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry this happened. It shouldn't have. It's an experience from which we will learn, but I also appreciate your due diligence in researching it because you're the guy that fixed it, you're the guy that found it, and I tip my hat to you because a lot of other people would have given up, and I'm glad you didn't. So we will work toward further refining the process.
$43,000.
Yeah. I would have been turning my house upside down to find that problem, I guarantee. And I'm glad you did, so thank you. And again, I apologize.
Brian.
If I may, Mr. Byrd, if you could go back to the microphone. Has the meter been repaired or replaced at this point?
So we have discussed that, and the suggestion was that we have the meter. So the radio was replaced, I believe, twice, and I think that's part of the problem. When the radio was replaced, some sort of procedure went wrong, which caused it to go down. I don't know what, or maybe the wrong radio was put in, and I was reading somebody else's meter. More recently, the radio was replaced again, and it's at that point that it basically recorded from 0 to the current usage, which was the 22 years worth of usage. So the
Okay.
radio's been replaced, but the meter hasn't. So we did discuss, maybe it's worth, I don't think there's a problem with the meter. I think this is all software issue or the radio, certainly a radio issue.
All right, don't
What
go
I
anywhere.
don't know
So-
is what, where we're at now, because this number was from a reading from,
Yeah.
I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago now. So I don't know whether since it's replaced the radio, whether they're now picking up a valid reading. We'll see that, I guess, the next bill that we get.
This sounds like it was a nightmare, to say the least. So I'd like to think that the water department is all over this in terms of fixing Mr. Byrd's issue, but I think it also identifies an opportunity. I'll use that word to make sure that this isn't happening elsewhere in town. I realize we can't fix everything at once, but whether it's a radio or the meter going backwards, I mean, that sounds odd to me. So clearly something's going on. So whether it's defective equipment that we have for meters, we're holding folks' feet to the fire in terms of using or paying for the water that they use, but we're reliant upon the accuracy of those meters, especially now where, I mean, every drop has to be accounted for. So I appreciate your patience on this, but you said that something was going on for 4 or 5 years. Can you elaborate on what that was?
Yeah, so since I moved into the house, when you buy a house, the meter's red and it's put to 0.
Right. Yeah.
So the very next month, I received a bill for $600 or $700, which I thought was an extraordinary amount of money for 1 month's worth of water usage. But, I just paid it and I moved on. And then I think the town came to me and said that there was some sort of problem with my meter or radio, and they wanted to look at it, do something. They did whatever they did. And then at some point in the following year, it stopped. Right? It stopped recording, it stopped sending a signal. So I received a 0 usage bill. In 2004 was the last time I received a bill that I actually had usage on and I paid the money. Right? So if you're giving somebody in town a 0 usage bill, maybe 1 quarter, maybe I was in Florida for a couple of months, but not for 2 years. I mean, people are living in the house, right? So, and on top of that, I had phoned in meter readings, to say, here's my meter reading, I'm getting 0 usage bill. And on another occasion, I went and physically took a photo of the meter and I dropped it off at town. And the next bill that I received was always 0 usage again. And then eventually they came and said, look, we need to replace your radio. And when they did do that, they got a realistic meter reading, but it was again, they took it from 0 as the prior usage instead of
Yeah.
what it should have been, because they didn't have a historically correct prior usage. The only way we could find a historically correct prior usage was from when the Burtons sold, when I bought the property from the Burtons, and it was clearly recorded what the meter read at
Yeah.
that point.
Well, it's troubling to me, and not to belabor the point, Madam Chair, but we have a resident who's trying to do the right thing and trying to report the correct numbers, and it's the old adage of fighting City Hall. He's having difficulty doing the right thing, so I'd like to think that we're. I appreciate, Rainey, what you said to Mr. Byrd about acknowledging the trouble he's been through, but I'd like to think that this isn't something that we're putting anybody else through, because I mean, we ought to be upset about this, frankly. I am, and I'm sorry you had to go through this, and thank you for seeing it through. I'm glad we finally figured it out in terms of the numbers, but I think this is a wake-up call to get the right equipment in the houses. I mean, I'd hate to think this has happened to anybody else.
I've talked to other people in other towns, and they've received phone calls from their town hall mid-period to say, your water usage looks a little bit high, there's something going on, you might want to check something. You know, I don't know what kind of technology we're using in Duxbury, but, I think that's something that should be looked at.
I think that's exactly what Brian is suggesting that we
Yeah.
do, because if you look back a year or a year and a half, we are seeing more and more of these abatements. We're having more of these conversations than we ever did before. I don't remember, 2 years ago, I don't think we ever had these
And
conversations.
they're meter
So-
issues, not
and it's-
necessarily consumption issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a meter or radio or a misread or, so we hear you. I think that's a good idea. If we could get this on our agenda, platter of items to talk about, maybe Sheila and Mark can come in and we can talk about what these meters are, how they're working, is this a software problem? Is this a radio? I didn't realize, I learned tonight that I thought that the meter was in the house and the radio was something that a person at the water department used to read the meter. And now I'm learning that there's actually a meter and a radio installed in your home, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I think there's something to be learned and a discussion to be had.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Byrd.
sir. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Next item on our agenda is a discussion regarding e-bikes and e-scooters, and the committee's...
Point of order, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Madam Chair, I think we need to come out of,
Oh, we do. Thank you. Thank you very much. We do.
I move that we come out of our being water and sewer commissioners and resume being the select board.
second.
Roll call.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Yeah,
Brian, aye.
Okay. Now we're going to
Like that.
take up the discussion regarding e-bikes and e-scooters. And I think we have some members of our,
We do, but I have a memo I wanted to read just before that.
yep, and Rainey's going to read a memo, and I will let you do that. And we have Paul Brogna and Mr. Brennan here, and an officer to
Yep, we do.
discuss this.
Just a brief intro. Attached here too, you will find an informational sheet in your packets provided by Paul Brogna, the chair of the Highway Safety Committee, entitled Ride Smart, Ride Safe, E-Bike and Scooter and E-Scooter Safety in Duxbury, a quick guide to local laws and best practices. The Highway Safety Committee approved this document at their meeting on June 4th, 2026. Mr. Brogna, along with Dick Brennan and Officer Matt Kent, are here this evening to participate in the presentation. Finally, just for informational purposes, I also enclosed a copy of an email exchange I had last month with a student at Duxbury High School taking a U.S. history class who was researching how the government takes action to address issues at the state and local levels. Again, it's just informational only, since there are several websites and attachments included in that response that I thought you folks might find of interest. And with that, Mr. Brogna and his friends are here. And by the way, thank you for putting this together. You guys did a nice job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brogna.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Paul Brogner, co-chair of the Highway Safety Advisory Committee. You have before you this evening the paperwork that we have submitted last August-September timeframe at the beginning of the last school year. Our committee decided to take a look at e-bikes and e-scooters in town. Many of us saw last summer I'll just say the potential need for, let's just say, enhancing the safety of our kids in town as much as possible. Those that were not 16 and not under a learner's permit obviously wanted to get around town as quickly and as fast as possible. But we also noticed that a lot of safety issues were necessary to provide for the education for not only the parents and the kids themselves. From that time frame, we have networked out to a number of people in town. I just wanted to briefly thank the school department, Dr. Klingman, school resource officer Rick Lapod, and their staff for helping us to enlighten us as to what they have done with the middle school and high school kids with their program. We actually met with Conservation Commission a couple months ago to go over what they do on the private trails in town and obviously the public roads themselves. We also met with the Open Space Committee. Kathy Cross is here. She's a member of that committee, and she has been helping us as well. What's interesting is the last meeting we had last month, early June, on June 4th, we had 3 high school juniors, now seniors, attend our meeting. Scarlett Jeffers, Beckett Woolley, and Jillian Noyes. And these 3 kids hit the home run. They had a junior year project, I guess. I don't know all the details behind it, but they came in, gave us a 3 to 5 minute briefing as to what they were studying, what they were looking for, and basically, as I said, hit the home run and brought everything back to the full circle here. Simultaneously with this committee, and Dick Brennan and Officer Matt Kent from the police department actually volunteered to help us out, do their homework on their own time, at their own expense, if you will, and basically develop the paperwork that you have in the handout tonight. Tom Scanlon, another member of our committee, is also here, and I believe 1 or 2 other members should be watching Channel 39 on Verizon tonight and basically listening in as well, unless they're zooming in, I'm not sure. But in either case, I'm just going to turn the meeting over to Dick and Matt because they have all the details, and obviously we voted to endorse our program and to support it 100% last month, and we hope you'll do the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dick Brennan, Highway Safety. We've been watching what's happening in town with scooters and bikes, and it was one of those things that just we were questioning what happened. What happens during the state? What happens to the laws, the mass laws and stuff? So I started doing some research. I checked all the surrounding towns. I went through Boston. I went through Dedham, down the Cape and stuff like that to see what they have. And it's a mishmash of the Massachusetts laws because the towns individually can change some of the laws. Some of the basic laws about Class 1 and Class 2 bikes are statewide. They have to stick with that. But if you wanted to, some towns let them ride sidewalks, some towns let them ride on the conservation lands, which we don't. So what we put together was a package. It's brief. We wanted to make it real short. We could have made it 10 pages long with all the stuff that they have, but we wanted to get it out quickly. We wanted to get it out before school got out, but we only meet once a month, so this is what we're stuck with this right now. On top of this, as we were doing this, the governor came out and has put forward their own set of rules and regulations. It hasn't passed yet. So this probably right now is a Band-Aid fix for what's happening, and it gets some attention. We also, with the high school kids, when they came, we questioned them a lot, and they said that parents seem to be unaware of the rules and regulations. So this is mainly aimed at the parents, not so much the kids, because that's going to be a trickle-down thing. Matt has some concerns about what do you do with a 10-year-old kid who breaks the law or who does a wheelie or something like that? And they have some legitimate situations here. What do you do with a young child like that? What we got right now is it's comprehensive, it's basic. It's a collaboration between us and the police department, and we'd like to see this go forward the way it is, just to get it on the books right now, and then if the governor's bill comes through, then we'll augment that and change that.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Officer Kent?
Officer Matt Kent with the Duxbury Police Department, also a member of the Highway Safety Committee. I appreciate you guys having us here today to share this information with you guys. And it's pretty much what it's about, is awareness, reaching out to you guys, reaching out to the school, the parents, as well as the kids that are operating these e-bikes. There's a lot, it's pretty brand new in terms of, like, it's very trending statewide, to where Governor Haley is making proposals for legislature. But it has become a community issue in and of itself within Duxbury, in terms of public safety and parents and the operators not having full awareness of what the regulations are behind operating these e-bikes. So having this awareness, having this education, is paramount. So I'll get into it a little bit if you want to review with me. And Massachusetts defines an electric bicycle as a bicycle equipped with fully operable pedals and an electric motor of 750 watts or less that meets the requirement of a Class 1 electric bicycle or a Class 2. You're able to find this out by, most e-bikes will have a manufacturer label, and that's where it would indicate that it's below the wattage and it's and that it can't, by not exceeding that wattage, it can't exceed 20 miles an hour. And that's what you're seeing, like, within the state. I won't just say Duxbury because it does apply, you know, universally throughout the state. But these kids will get on these bikes. They don't have the education or understanding of what is right and what is wrong, what they can ride and what they can't. And it creates these public safety issues, creates these issues that we're concerned about with the children and them operating them. And there has been a community outcry on a police level. We've had many people come into the station to air their concerns about juveniles operating these e-bikes. Oftentimes they congregate in highly populated areas like Hall's Corner. That is a primary location for a lot of the issues that that take place. It's very congested. There's a lot of commercial activity there, and we do get dozens and dozens of complaints for that area. But fundamentally, because I've had people ask me, like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing as a police department? Mm-hmm. And I tell them it's all circumstantial. It really comes down to the individual case of what is occurring. It's not just a blanket statement of, like, this is what's going to happen. There are violations, like with Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes. Those would fall under the parameters of being 750 watts or less. And a Class 1 is pedal assist only, and Class 2 has a throttle assist, but it cannot exceed 20 miles an hour. And mind you, there's no age restriction. So you do have 10-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids operating these. I know, I mean, I'm only 35, but I had a bicycle growing up and never went that fast, you know? So to see a 10-year-old driving 20 miles an hour, you know, it's concerning, you know. But there's just there's a lot of issues that come with it. But if there's no pedals on the e-bike at all, then it's not even considered an e-bike. And I've ran into these issues myself. Parents will get these type of e-bikes for their kids, just with the lack of understanding. And that's primarily what we shoot for when dealing with enforcement is community policing, not so much bringing down the law book on them, because at 10 years old, like, we don't want to just hammer the law book at them, you know, for a lack of education on what they can utilize. Not too long ago, I had a 14-year-old operating a e-bike that could go up to 55 miles an hour, and his mom had just got it for him several days prior. And when I spoke with her, she was none the wiser that he wasn't allowed to operate it. And it's just, that's why it's so important to just get this information out, get it to the schools, just get it to all the kids, get it to the parents, have them have a full understanding of what their children are allowed to operate, because statewide there has been reported severe injuries occurring, car crashes involved with these e-bikes involved that can cause this. So it is detrimental to community safety.
Officer Kent, could I ask you to speak a little bit about, so if, giving a child a ticket, enforcement has got to be tough here, right? So at the end of the day, I hope we can help educate the public as to what kind of the repercussions of a violation would be. If you were, the scenario maybe riding two people, I often see multiple people on these e-bikes or little mini bikes, no helmets. If a child were to be badly injured, where would the liability be?
If the child, so if the child
on the
e-bike-
back of your motorcycle that your parents bought for you, is there a liability issue?
There's a long list I could read off a good amount of them. They're all, so when you have a class 1 and class 2 e-bike, it falls under the same parameters of law enforcement as to a regular bicycle. So we do have bicycle violations. So they typically result in like a $20 ticket, typically no more for these bicycle violations. And these type of citations, bicycle citation, doesn't go on their criminal record. It doesn't go on their driving history or anything like that. But it is a citation that they would have to pay. But outside of that, so I'll tell you these real quick. Failure to stop and obey traffic control signals, failure to signal turns and stops, riding more than 2 abreast, like we were just saying, and also having, if the e-bike is not outfitted for having a passenger, then that's unsatisfactory, and that can result in a citation for the bicycle violation. Unsafe operation around pedestrians, no hands-on handlebars, obstructing traffic while parked. E-bikes riding on sidewalks. E-bikes are not permitted to ride on sidewalks. I know Dick Brennan spoke how other towns may allow that. So with that implementation, that comes with bylaws. So that having those bylaws in place, they're all town specific. So you have the state law that we're going by because we don't have bylaws for these e-bikes. But when you do have towns that have their own set bylaws and set regulations, that could be via a bylaw or signage, things like of that nature. That's where it can differentiate in terms of what town you're riding in and how those laws can vary. But to your point, a riding 2 abreast, more than 2 abreast, can result in a bicycle citation. But what's really concerning is when you have parents getting their children these e-bikes that exceed 20 miles per hour with electrical assist. We're now in the realm of what is considered a class 3 e-bike, and Massachusetts has not fully adopted the guidelines of enforcement on a class 3 e-bike, but as it stands, anything that can exceed 20 miles an hour with electrical assist reverts to motor vehicle law. So when you have, and what I was saying earlier, I don't throw the law book at a kid, but and this is where it could come into play, is you have a 13-year-old operating an e-bike that can go 40, 50 miles an hour. If it's going anywhere over 20 miles an hour, they're not falling under bicycle law, they're falling under motor vehicle law. So at that point, that e-bike now has to be registered, insured, has to have a license plate, And if they don't have that, then if there was a crash involved, or if there was, or if they were just stopped and it was investigated, they could be charged with an unregistered motor vehicle. They could be charged with an uninsured motor vehicle. They could have to, all misdemeanors. They would have to go to court, and it would be a huge headache, and also just the liability attached to it. You get in a car crash, you need liability insurance, and with that, it's required.
Yeah, what about the parents being liable into that point? If the parents
Yeah,
are...
there are offenses for, I can't cite them right now, but there are citable offenses for knowingly allowing your child to operate an e-bike, a Class 3 e-bike.
Yeah.
But they would have to have that knowledge that they're
Well, if
doing
they
that.
purchased it for them,
Yes,
they would...
and that's
you would
where
assume
the
that-
education comes into play. And again, too, like we're discussing, it's all just, there's a lot of gray involved in having the full understanding on what you're buying your child. And because you don't want them to just be going down Hall's Corner and then come home with a criminal summons to appear in court.
Or not come home.
Or get involved
not
in
come
a serious
home, right.
crash, and now we're dealing with something completely different here.
Fernando has a question.
Yeah, so Officer Kent, in the package, there's this really nice one-pager, right?
Sure.
I really like it. It provides all the information very succinctly, and it would be good to make sure that we circulate this. I just want to clarify something. You make it clear where you can ride on public roads, bike lanes, shared use, paved paths.
Yes, sir.
Where you can't ride is on sidewalks, playing fields, school fields, dirt paths, town conservation lands. Is this enforceable where you can't ride? You said that it's not in our bylaws, but what do we need to make sure, to make this one pager become the rule book, so to speak, or it notifies parents, informs parents, but also allows you as a police officer and a community officer to ensure that people are following this? Is this enforceable?
It
then?
is enforceable.
Okay, good.
And in terms of being enforceable, whether or not that enforcement comes in the result of a citation or just having that conversation, hey,
Correct.
you cannot be operating
Yes.
this on the sidewalk,
Yes.
you need to come off the sidewalk.
Right.
That's a form of verbal
Yeah.
enforcement.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
There is police intervention involved.
I have a question about that then. So if you have a 12-year-old on an e-bike that's riding on this sidewalk, no helmet on, and you have that talk with them, are you also talking to the parents?
Yes, that is something the Duxbury Police Department always stresses, especially because of the lack of education. With just the efforts towards community policing and this being a newer thing in Duxbury, the growing popularity of e-bikes within Duxbury, we're always trying to get it through to the parents and have them have a full understanding of what is going on, what their child can and cannot be doing. So yes, whenever these violations are occurring, one of our first courses of action is to call the parents and to have that conversation with them and to educate them on what their child was doing and what they can't be doing moving forward.
Yeah.
So basically, anything over 20 miles an hour, that person is essentially riding it needs a driver's license, registration, plates, and
Yes,
insurance, right? So that's really important for people
Yes, sir.
where there's an e-bike. I also like the e-scooter regulations, right? Must be at least 16 years old.
Yes, sir.
And helmet required. Again, maximum speed, but no passengers. I see lots of little kids riding around on the scooters with no helmets, two at a time, bouncing along there. So I think this is fantastic. I really like this one pager. So my question is, how do we get it out into the community? I know that you started, but how else can we as a select board help get this information?
I'll give you an answer.
All right.
The same way we've done in the past, because if you look in the packets,
Yep.
you'll see that there was a message sent out by the police department previously where they did it on social media.
All right.
The schools pushed the message out
Okay.
at the beginning, well, actually, at the
the end
beginning
of
of
the
the summer last year also.
Right.
We can ask them to do that. We can get it on the town's website. We can do it on Facebook. There's a number of avenues.
Right. This is really good. This is really good work.
Appreciate it.
It is good, and I really appreciate you guys
Yeah.
doing this. I've been concerned about this for a long time. We're seeing more and more, bikes. I see them all the time walking out on the trails. And I think, I can talk to the open space and conservation. I think we need better signage
Signage is important.
at our public, at our conservation lands that alert people. At all the state parks, I've learned you're not allowed to use any kind of e-bikes, or none of that is allowed on their trails.
Yeah.
What I do think this is missing, and again, this is not a criticism, but I do think that the parents have to know that the buck really does stop with them, that they are liable for their minor children. And if they're purchasing these e-bikes for their kids, for their minor children, and they're being used, inappropriately, that they are the liable party. As I think there's been a lot of recent case law that supports that. And I don't want anybody's kid to get hurt, and I don't want anybody else's kid to get hurt because of some other kid that isn't playing by the rules. So I think we're all in this together. And
Yeah, it looks like this thing that the school sent out didn't say anything about e-scooters not being appropriate for under 16.
16, yeah.
That's because it was last year.
Oh, it was last
I
year.
don't know if that regulation was in
All
place.
right, because that's important, because you
Yep.
do see
you see a lot
very
of
young
those.
children.
Just so you're aware as well, the school has made efforts with e-bikes to have them registered and logged within their own documents. That way they have record of who is bringing an e-bike into school and advises them where to park it. And I also know that the kids, the students that gave us their presentation for their project as well, we discussed implementing that into the I don't know the term for it, but it's when they all come in for the new school year,
Right.
they all sit in the orientation. When they all sit in an orientation, having that implemented within orientation
Okay.
as well.
Right, yeah.
Oh, really good.
Where does the powered skateboards play into this? Are those all regulated the same way? You know how the skateboards now aren't self-powered. Have you seen them?
No,
Oh, yeah, they're super fast, and
The
these
skateboard issue is a completely different thing. I looked at that hard. I remember sitting in front of French Memories having coffee, and I saw this kid coming down there. No shoes on, no helmet. He's going 40 miles an hour.
Easy.
I've come to find out that they have these one-wheel skateboards
Yeah.
that do 40, 50 miles an hour.
but those aren't regulated at all?
I found out where that was, and I was unable to find it.
I see those all the time. I actually saw a kid strap a lawn chair onto one of these things and was riding around the neighborhood very fast.
We can,
It was quite
we-
ingenious, but
We can impound bicycles as well. That is it's specific to children under 16. If they do commit one of the bicycle violations, we can seize their bike for up to 15 days. That's the way it's written. But if they're over 16, we're not able to do that for a simple bicycle violation.
And do they? I mean, does the police do that if you have a, 12-year-old on a e-scooter? Do they impound them?
Well, if it is a option, if a traffic violation occurs with that child, it is a option available. I will say, in terms of, say, like we took it on full force and started impounding a bunch of bikes, we don't have the facility to impound all these in terms of storage. We can bring in a few, we can tag them for evidence, and we can hold them for up to 15 days. But also, too, like if it's a class 3 and they commit like unregistered, uninsured, things of that nature, it can just be towed, plain and simple from that point. But yeah, it's not so, because it's a newer issue, we're not trying to just,
right.
like, we can, and I can't necessarily say, because I can't speak for every officer, as to whether or not it has been done, or what bicycle violations have been, citations have been given out. But for the most part, right now, we're on a very early phase of getting the word out and
Right.
having
Educate.
no, I
full
just-
awareness. Because
Yeah.
if it'd be different if everybody was on the same playing field, everybody had full awareness of what
Right.
they can and cannot be doing. But we're dealing with children and parents who are none the wiser to what they can be doing.
Right. I was just thinking about the e-scooters. If you have a child who's under 16 without a license or a learner's permit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's something that could be implemented, but
Yeah.
more or less the parents would be contacted and called to retrieve the e-scooter.
Okay, that makes
Can I
sense.
add one? You're absolutely right. It is the responsibility of the parents. They need to know what they're buying, and they need to know what they're doing. Because the minute you give your kid one of these things, it can be very dangerous if they're not taught how to ride these things and how to ride responsibly, just like you would a bicycle back when we were kids. The other thing you need to understand is when you have an accident and you're going 20 miles an hour and you hit a car at 35 miles an hour, that's a 55 mile an hour accident. That's not a
right.
20 mile an hour. I mean, you're going to have a hard time walking away from a 55 mile an hour accident if you're on an e-bike or a scooter. It's not going to be pretty. The kids did a great job in their understanding of this as well. I agree, and you guys did a terrific job too, and I thank you.
Thank
But
you.
again, it totally is the responsibility of the parents. These bikes don't fall from the sky.
No.
They're bought by a parent or a grandparent. And I think the other thing you're going to realize, these are, in some cases, for some families, these are, I won't say a necessity, but they are a very helpful thing, because if the parents aren't at home and the kids have to go from one place to another, that's how they're getting there. They're getting there quicker,
100%.
perhaps more dangerously. But I also suspect, and I can't prove this, the ridership drops by the time they hit 16 because then they're in a car.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to be popping somebody at 17.
Majority of issues that we deal with are with children prior to them receiving their permit or,
That's what I see.
license. It's
Yeah.
10-year-olds to 15 primarily.
I'm living it now. I mean, I see it with the experience of my kids and their friends. I don't have one of these things, but a lot of their friends do. And you got to be really careful. But if you're trying to get from one side of town to the other, that's where it gets tricky.
Right.
They use bicycles.
They don't,
It takes too long, Cindy.
pedaling is out of vogue.
Yeah.
No, you
Too much
see
exercise.
multiple kids on it. Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Related question, but something we haven't discussed yet. Has the committee at all looked at fire safety risk of these vehicles? They have big batteries. I know that we
right.
first started seeing this when EVs came out and folks were having uncontrolled fires in their garages when either the charger goes or the battery goes or whatever. I know building codes are being updated to address that, but have you looked into at all issues of whether there's a greater risk of fire hazard when you're charging these things? And if so, would it be worthwhile maybe adding a line or two just cautioning, hey, by the way, these things have big batteries in them, be
Definitely
careful?
helpful. Something the fire department could do a better job answering. I don't think it's been brought up too much in conversation, but you're certainly right. It is something that could be implemented because it could create that issue.
Yeah, I think everything is great here. I echo Fernando, the one-pager. It's easy to digest. It's put together very clearly. And I just offer that as maybe an additional thing, just because, again, if folks aren't looking at how fast these are going, as a parent, maybe they're also not looking at whether these things are UL rated, for example, or if they're coming from overseas and maybe they don't have the same fire safety standards that we have here in the U.S. I'd rather be forewarned than, ask Chief Reardon to come put my house out. So,
Absolutely.
okay, thank
We
you.
have a fire department person on our committee. We'll ask him when he wants to do it. But the battery you're talking about, they're lithium batteries. And they're sealed batteries. If they're opened up and it gets oxygen, they'll start to overheat. There is a serious concern about lithium batteries. Secondly, something needs to be done about sales. Because when the kids buy a bike, the salespeople don't say that you can't ride this bike. That's where it probably should start for the parents. I don't know if we have any places around that we can say to them that they have to issue something like this before they can make a sale?
Well, that should be, that we should talk to our representative, who, there needs to be legislation out there that that places that sell these do have some kind of a handout or warnings about
They sign
everything
off
from
on
the
it or
battery
something, yeah, that they
to
acknowledge it.
liability to, you know, I don't know how easily modified these things are. I hope that they're making them, I know with the skateboards, for a long time, kids were able to modify them to make them go faster. So I hope that there are
It'll be
safety
easy, just
measures.
increase the wattage on the battery.
Yeah, so, you know, let's hope that they make it, you know,
So what do we,
harder
When I was
to
a
do that.
teenager, that's what I did. I put a big carburetor on.
so what do we do now? We're just saying, yes, we love it and go forward?
And we're endorsing it.
Yeah, we're gonna
and
post it
support
everywhere.
it
Yeah.
and-
Send it out to the world.
Yep.
Yes,
We're
and
not
out to
voting- we
world.
don't need to vote on it or anything.
No.
I think I'd like to maybe make a motion to
Absolutely.
thank Officer Ken, Mr. Brennan, and Mr. Brogner for...
And the whole committee.
And the whole committee,
Whole committee for
and the students for putting this one pager together. It
Yes,
is an
and
outstanding
and
piece
the
of work.
select board endorses it on behalf of the town.
I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Thank you very much.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Brodin was, I was waiting for any further discussion.
Oh, right.
Did you
One
have
of those
further
few
discussion?
projects we get involved with that 100% of the people walk the same line. Nobody said no when we asked the question. From the schools to public safety to the open space committee, conservation commission, and other people in town, even the parents, they want to learn as well. It's just a matter of disseminating that information and getting it out and supporting the cause here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Thank you very
abstentions?
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Next item is...
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you very much. A discussion and vote, we're
Next.
tabling the waste disposal.
We're tabling it?
Yep.
Oh,
Next is an acceptance of a donation from the Copeland Family Foundation for the Duxbury Animal Shelter. And I think I saw,
hi.
how are you, sir?
I'm Eddie Ramos. I'm the Animal Control Officer. Most people see me as the face. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Copeland Family Fund. When I came 21 years ago, the shelter was a 12 by 12 concrete cinder block building with a heater that caught on fire every time you turned it on. There was a group of people that raised money to help build a new shelter, and a lot of people don't realize that the Copeland Fund, the family fund, had actually been donating $5,000 a year for several years, so they were actually the biggest donor. So the town basically got a state-of-the-art building at the time for about $50,000, which is unheard of to get a building for the town for $50,000 that still 21 years later looks like it's 5 years old. We are meticulous when it comes to cleaning and maintaining the building. It's a great place that most people have pets. They love their pets like their family members, and we take care of them like they're ours. Since then, the Copeland family, and a lot of people, when you think it's a $7,500 donation, but in reality, they have donated over $100,000 towards our shelter. And the benefit to the town is also, when I started here, besides salaries, my budget was about $16,000 a year. 21 years later, our budget is about $8,000.
Oh, dear.
They have offset our costs. We get to provide services that most other towns do not have. We're more personal, whether it's advice, I mean, little things. So the Copeland Family Fund has actually, they've backed us and been with us the whole time without even, we don't even have a face to who the Copeland Family Fund is. We write them a letter every year thanking them for continuous support, and they keep giving us this generous donation. And if you ask any of the other towns also, we are the standard. This continuous support from the community, everybody has been phenomenal. Basically, the town, out of the budget, of the $8,000 budget, we spend about $3,000 to $4,000 on utilities. We put a generator in the building in case of power outages, new flooring. I mean, it's been amazing what we get to do because of this fund. And when I say we, it's, There are some unsung heroes that people, the Copeland Fund is definitely an unsung hero. There's also someone else who doesn't want me to mention themselves, but they've been there since the building of the department, and if it wasn't for them, I just want to give them a little shout, kind of a shout out, because I'm the face of the department. Everybody knows who Eddie Ramos is, unfortunately.
No, it's a good thing,
The
Eddie.
best animal control officer ever.
Sometimes it is, but there are people in the background that people don't know about, and to be honest with you, if it wasn't for them, we're a team. I would not be able to provide some of the things that we do. We do things a little bit different. We provide more services than some of these other towns. It's been busy lately, but I just wanted to, put it out there. If it wasn't for her, I would not be able to do, because she helps with the shelter. If I'm on vacation, she'll help out. So I just wanted to mention Susan Curtis. If it wasn't for her, I would honestly not be able to do as much of the stuff that I do, and we would not be able to provide what we provide for this town. And we love this town, and we're trying to give this town everything we can. So I just wanted to thank the Copeland Fund, thank Susan, and thank you guys, because you guys have been great over the years also, and we're just trying to, we don't ask for much at the shelter. I think the only thing we've ever asked for is a new vehicle. Otherwise, we try to keep it where costs go down, and we do spend about, to be honest with you, let's say $8,000 to $10,000 a year out of our donation account. It was probably the smartest thing we ever did. Some towns fight having a donation account, but it offsets a lot of costs where, what department goes from 16, I know it's not a lot in the whole grand scheme of things, but from 16,000, technically, we went down 50% of our budget 21 years later. So I'm very proud of us for what we do over there and the services that we provide for the town. Like I said, we're a great team. Me and Susan have been doing this for 21. She was actually part of building the shelter, and there was a group of people, a completely other group, that actually raised, I want to say it was a little over $200,000 back then, and to be honest with you, that shelter is in such great shape that 40 years from now, that shelter, as long as it's maintained, it's going to be there 40 years later. So it's, we're kind of frugal, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing. Well, we know you guys do a great job, and we're all appreciative. We don't want to have to go and get our dogs out of jail.
Well, it's nice, though. It's clean. It's a great environment, and you know what? The animals are cared for like they're ours. That's the big thing. So, nowadays everybody looks at their pet like it's your family.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. So we try to make it where people are comfortable. I've had dogs. I come into the shelter, and there's 2 dogs sitting at my door that were walking on the trails waiting to come in.
Yeah.
You don't normally see that.
I've never had to bail my dog out of jail, but I have gone to you guys for help.
I see Mike's not here.
When I first got my dog, you guys have extra crates there that you can,
We try to help in all
that
kinds of
you can borrow if you need one. Just advice and, and anytime there's a dog missing in the neighborhood, or, people call and everybody's on the network, and it's kind of a great thing. So we very much appreciate all that you guys do.
I have had to.
You've had to bail
I
your
have
dog
had to
out?
bail a dog out.
People don't realize, over the years, how much money it's added up to with how much the Copeland Fund has contributed over the years. Originally it was $5,000. Then there were some economy issues with, just the world in general, and there was a couple of years that we didn't get it after the shelter was built. Wrote letters thanking them, and then started back up. And
Wonderful.
Then it went to $6,500, now $7,500. And just, it's nice to save the taxpayers a little bit of money. I know it's not a lot in the grand scheme of multi-million-dollar budgets, but every little bit,
No, it's a great thing they did. Maybe hopefully, people should keep that in mind as they're planning their estates.
No, it's great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you
you,
very
Eddie.
much, Eddie.
Before Eddie goes, Madam Chair, if I may,
yes.
we certainly appreciate the generosity of the Copeland family. While you're here, if there are other like-minded folks in town or outside of town who'd like to make donations to the animal shelter, how would they do that?
Usually they can address it to the town. Usually what we do is we have them address it to the town hall, 878 Tremont Street. We just put in care of animal control, and basically, or the Duxbury Animal Shelter. And that's usually what we get. We have people who donate everything from blankets, towels, stuff like that, cat toys, dog toys,
Crates.
all those type of things. But, we had, there was a woman that everybody used to, she would come in every day, well, once a week or every other week with a little shopping bag, and there would be a T-shirt and some towels, and, you know, it's what she had. So we would take it, and big surprise, like 10 years later, get a call from an attorney, and she had passed and left us a nice little donation. So and everybody's like, why are you taking it? I go, because to her, that's, she's helping. And, you know, we used it, pillowcases, whatever.
Sure.
So it's, you know, it's that type of stuff. So we don't go out asking. You know, we try to knock on wood. You know, I try to have a little cushion because you never know what's going to happen. But, you know, nowadays especially, we look at it like, you know, a lot of departments, you know, they just ask and ask and ask. And, you know, so we're trying
You'll accept donations from the public?
We will.
Yep.
We will.
Excellent.
We will. But we just don't go out and advertise for it, you know? So
Well, this is your chance. We got at least 10
there are things,
viewers,
you know,
so.
It's a
economy's
great
little tough
cause
right
to
now, so we like
donate
to, you know, let people do what they have
Sure.
to do. If we need it, we'll put something out there. But right now, we're in a good place. We're in a
And
good
then
place.
one
to
more
shelter.
thing I'd like to mention while
Yep.
Eddie's here.
Yep.
For years, Eddie had reported to the DPW director under that mantle, but I've had numerous discussions with Eddie, with Sheila Scarzi, the DPW director, and Chief Carbone at the police department, where Eddie used to report. We've moved him back since starting July 1 to the police department because it made greater sense. I was concerned about primarily his safety, because if he gets a call in the middle of the night and he's got to go out there, we need to know where he is so that we could either find him or send additional people for a force multiplier. So he's now dispatched through the rock, or if he's contacted directly, he just buzzes the rock and says, hey, I'm on my way to, 123 Main Street for whatever reason. So he's now under the police department, and it helps with his reporting system, and they're there, and I think it's working out really well. That's
good.
You
That's
really
been my
bounce
experience,
around,
but
Eddie.
So far,
You
so
know, you
good.
bounce
We're still in
around.
the learning stages, you know.
Yeah.
We're trying to get used to everything, so it's a little different. But, you know, that's another thing we do, too, is in reality, we're providing, you know, I get calls daytime, nighttime, weekends, holidays. I mean, we get calls, you know, a lot of towns, it's 4 p.m. done, you know. You know, one of the reasons our shelter is in the condition it's in is if we do have a dog, if, you know, if someone, you call normally 6 o'clock, you have to wait till the next day, right? Well, in reality, I'm not going to leave a dog in a kennel, or Susan's not going to leave a dog in a kennel from 4 p.m. until 8 in the morning, because they're going to pee, they're going to poop, it's going to make things worse. So if I have to come in at 10 o'clock anyways, I might as well give you your dog back. Other towns won't do that. They'll, you know, and they're family members, so we try to, you know, put them back as soon as we can. If I have to come in 10, why not just give you your dog back? So, I mean, we do try to go a little bit beyond. I mean, I came from a Humane Society side of it, so luckily when I came here, you know, the group that raised the money kind of dissolved. The only one that actually stayed was Susan. So it's kind of funny, 21 years later, she's still there. But there was really nothing in place. So they gave me some freedom to create, and I think it's a better balance where it's not just like, we're there to help you. It's not just to, you know, people think animal control, it's every time it's something bad, and, you know, advice, you know, you're having a problem with your dog, call. If I know the answer, I'll give you the advice. So same thing with Susan, you know, that's what we do. So we try to give it more of a personal, trying to change it a little. Well, we did change it actually, so it's not trying anymore. We're there, and a lot of these other towns will, you know, they're trying to pretty much emulate what we have going on. So it worked out really well. So it's a good combo.
Great.
Well, thank you for all you
Thank
do,
you.
Thank you,
Eddie.
guys.
Thanks, Eddie.
You. All
Do we
right.
need a
We have
motion? Yes, we do.
Yeah, I move the Select Board accept with gratitude the Copeland Family Foundation, Inc. donation of $7,500 for the Duxbury Animal Shelter.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous.
Thank you, Copeland family.
Next is the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, a meeting or two ago, you had asked us to get some stuff together on PFAS, and we have done exactly that. Let's see, Sheila, Mark, Alston Potts, our consultant, Mary and I, Lauren, we've all sat down and put our heads together following your last meeting on PFAS, because At that point, the board had, had specifically asked to provide notice to the residents with a whole bunch of information. So what we have done is put that together, and the water department, working with Apex, our consulting engineers, wrote up the notification, which you've got in your hands now, and it's going to be sent to the water customers, which includes the current update, comparative testing levels, and a whole bunch of other information, and the town's plan of action indicating what the town has done and what we're doing to address the situation. They have reviewed and edited this document, and it will be going out in the next water bill, which will be going out, let's see, August of 26, so August, next month. It's going to be stuffed in the water bills, so everybody will have it. We're going to give a copy to the Clipper. It's going to go on the town and the water department websites. It's also going to be posted on the DPW's Facebook page. So we wanted to make sure that we had reviewed this thing over the course of about 2 weeks, probably 83 times, to make sure that it could be one clear message on a one sheet so that we could get it in there, and it contains everything that you had asked for and probably then some. So the headlines of this are, what is PFAS, what are our current results here in Duxbury, and you have the 24, 25, and 26 data. And then here's what's happened already and what comes next, and then what can I do? So it covers every base that you had requested.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. We all took our notes during that meeting, reviewed the minutes, and captured everything that you had asked for.
Okay, and we are on track for 2 times a year testing for PFAS and PFOA, correct?
I believe so. Sheila, is Sheila there? I think she's online. We can double check with her.
I think it's,
There she is.
we're doing twice a year. Sheila, we're on for twice a year PFAS testing on the wells?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. And what months are those done of the year?
That's for you, Sheila.
Sheila, is it like February and August, or what 2 months do we test in?
I think it depends on the well. I know we have around that we sample in January,
Okay.
but it depends on the well.
Is there any information if they go to the
Seen this?
website at the bottom
This is already
about what a resident can do in terms of, buying a water filter or anything like that?
They can choose to buy one, but at levels this low, we don't know that it would actually do much in terms of capturing the PFAS that's in there.
Okay.
In other communities, because we looked at least 7 other communities, and their notices, when they were issuing notices, they were issuing it because they were above 20 parts per trillion. They were truly in crisis.
Yeah.
They were looking at filtration systems for, well, not just their home, but for the town, as we are too. But we're at a very different level.
Yeah, like even the water pitcher type of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the efficacy is of those.
Yeah. Okay.
But I suppose that's something they could find.
Okay.
We do have a link on the webpage to Mass DEP's information on home treatment.
Okay.
So that's what we're pointing to.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
To Cindy's point, though, so we're going to receive this with our water bill.
Yep.
What is the town's expectation that of the residents' use of this? In other words, I receive it. What does the town expect that I do with this?
Read it, understand it. If they have questions, this will hopefully provide many of those answers. And if not, they can certainly contact us.
And this is something that we're doing voluntarily. We're not required by law.
Correct.
To do it.
Yeah.
One thing that I had asked last time, I don't know if we've done it, I'd appreciate if we have town council take a quick look, not on the science of it, but just to make sure that since this is something we're trying to do that we're doing voluntarily for informational purposes, that we're not inadvertently exposing the town to some sort of potential liability or obligation.
Yep, not a problem.
I'm not aware of any, but no good deed goes unpunished, so I don't want to be on the receiving end of bad news if we send this out, notwithstanding the intent for which it's
Yep.
being sent.
I really like the last paragraph, the what can I do? Because this is something that is so frustrating to me. I think Rainey and I joked a little bit about this, about bumper stickers or, because, yeah, I'm dying for my green lawn or something, that's very dramatic, but the reality of this is, it says, what can I do? On May 5th, 2026, the Water and Sewer Commissioners enacted an outdoor irrigation water ban for sprinkling systems connected to the town water supply. Your compliance with this water ban will help to reduce the demand on Duxbury's water system and limit the use of those wells with PFAS and PFOAs concentrations above 4 parts per trillion. So that's really the bottom line here, is that if people would comply with our conservation efforts, stop watering your lawn, we can shut down the Lakeshore Drive well and get those levels down to a safer limit. But if people won't work with us, we have to leave these wells going. And that, so I really appreciate that you put that in, because this is all up to us.
Madam Chair, if I may inquire of Mr. Reed, have we issued any tickets?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
We need to probably start.
Do you mean for irrigation? Sorry.
Yeah. Because it's happening. Cindy's getting emails.
I think it's one of those things where it's got to be seen. Maybe the evidence is
Well,
there.
there was
Oh,
I
it's
see it.
around the well. No.
But do I want to wrap people up?
There was one incident that was reported to me, and I reported it to Mark, and he went and
Okay.
checked it out.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what the result was. It was not, but, if you do that,
I'll talk to him.
I received an email asking why the town green in town, all the sprinkling systems was on at the town green. Can we,
Well, they're on wells.
the town green is?
Isn't it, Sheila?
On Washington
Sheila,
Street?
is the town, the
Yes,
town.
and actually, we just ordered a bunch of signs that we're going to be putting up
So people
that
know.
indicate where there's well water in town.
Yeah, good idea.
And it's pretty much every town.
Okay, that's good, but people shouldn't get one and put it out if they're not on town. There should be an extra fine for fraudulent signage.
And in terms of the irrigation,
ideas into
we have started with our
Well,
water
that idea was already
department
there.
going out.
go ahead.
Sorry, Sheila, go ahead.
In terms of the irrigation, we've started with our water department crew going out 2 mornings a week to check for irrigation systems in use. So we're starting to track that down too.
Excellent, thank you.
I am seeing, Sheila, that the nighttime watering seems to be the thing. So I'm not sure how you're going to catch that.
I've
Stealth
seen people
watering.
watering it.
Stealth
Yeah, I've seen
watering.
people watering it during the day. Yeah,
Oh,
they'll start
gosh.
somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to.
There's that part. You have anything else? I didn't mean to interrupt you, Cindy. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, this is
I was
good.
just gonna, I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
expect the water department to start working overnight shifts.
No, but
We appreciate that, thank you. 2 other quick things for you. Well, one's quicker one than the other. Jim Savonin retired today. Not Jim, excuse me. He
Jim
retired last week.
Wazalewski.
Jim Wazalewski retired today. We will miss him. He was a great coworker, a good friend, and we really enjoyed having him. And in the interim, for the moment, Bob Polisano is going to be serving out as the building commissioner to help us out in the interim while we put in a full-time, while we hire somebody full-time.
Jim will be missed.
You will, yeah.
Yeah.
But Bob is great. and
Bob is terrific as well.
Thank him very much for
I absolutely
stepping
will. And by the way,
in. He does a
extended-
great job.
I said hi to Jim. I said goodbye to Jim for you.
Thank you. I was sad to miss his going away.
It's okay. The last thing I have is the acquisition of 6 Kingstown Way. The Duxbury Affordable Housing Trust is scheduled to close on the purchase of 6 Kingstown Way on August 4th, 2026. The purchase price is $462,500 plus additional settlement fees to be paid using Affordable Housing Trust Fund money on hand. The parcel is a 24.8-acre property currently owned by R.H. Benea Cranberry Company, classified under Chapter 61A agricultural use, which has qualified it for reduced tax rate relative to standard residential land. The parcel is composed of 40,000 square feet of prime land, 11 acres of cranberry bogs, 10 acres of residual land, and 2.9 acres of undevelopable land. By way of background, the property came to market in 2021 with an interested private buyer, Watermark LLC. Because the land is Chapter 61A classified, the town held a statutory right of first refusal. On February 9th, 2021, the town received notice from the seller, R.H. Benea, of its intent to convey the property to Watermark LLC. On September 27th, 2021, the Select Board exercised the town's right of first refusal and voted to approve acquisition of the parcel. Following the board's vote, Watermark LLC filed suit, and the seller attempted to withdraw its notice of intent to sell. On June 12, 2026, the Supreme Judicial Court affirmed the Superior Court's ruling in the town's favor, clearing the way for the acquisition to proceed. The ruling enforces that once a Chapter 61A notice of intent to sell is filed, a landowner can't simply retract it to defeat the municipality's option. I will be scheduling the Affordable Housing Trust to present their plans for the property at a future Select Board meeting. In the meantime, I didn't know if you had any conversations with the Affordable Housing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to offer you that opportunity if you have anything to add, but that's okay if you haven't, because they probably haven't met.
They haven't met.
There you go. That's what I thought. So this is coming to you in the very near future.
And I hope that they will remember, we had a discussion about, when we talked about, densities and proposals at that time, and those, that did factor into, what we thought would be a good use of this property or not. So I hope that they will be reminded, or maybe go back and look at some of those meetings or minutes or discussions, so that we don't head down, kind of an unfortunate path.
I think.
Chair, don't they?
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Marshall. No, as you know, the Duxbury Affordable Housing Trust, its mission is to build affordable housing for the residents of for the residents of Duxbury. So that's what they will be doing with this parcel of land, building affordable housing for Duxbury.
That's my report.
Excellent.
All righty. We have a one-day liquor and wine and malt license for St. John's Church. Is there anyone here to speak to that?
No.
Susan Fallon?
I believe so.
Take a motion, Cindy.
I move that Ms. Susan Fallon be granted a one-day all-alcohol license for their bridal shower on August 1, 2026, from 12 to 4, located at St. John's Evangelist Church, 410 Washington Street, contingent upon the conditions of the license.
Second, and good luck.
Yes, congratulations.
Yes.
Mazel tov and all that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We have some committee appointments and reappointments. Cindy?
Coming, just a minute. Okay. I move that the Duxbury Select Board reappoint the following people to the following boards. To the Affordable Housing Trust, Fernando Guitart, to a term ending 6/30/2028. Coastal Resiliency Task Force, Cindy Ladd-Fiorini, for a reappointment to 6/30/27. The DEI Steering Committee, Fernando Guitart, reappointment to 6/30/27. Fence Viewers, Priscilla Chandler and Jeffrey Chandler, reappointment to 6/30/2027.
Second.
Just a question procedure. Can you vote on your own appointment?
Sure you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, why
okay.
not?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We have some
And I-
resignations.
Congratulations, Cindy and Fernando.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Except with gratitude, not with gratitude, I accept with gratitude for her work, the resignation of Jeannie Horn on the Liverpool Duxbury Task Force.
Yes.
We thank
Thank you,
her.
Jeannie.
Thank you, Jeannie. And the following boards and committees have available seats. The Alternative Energy Committee has 2 seats. I'm not quite sure that's right, but check them out. Duxbury Cultural Council has 1 seat. Council on Aging Board has 2 seats, 1 alternate. The Physical Advisory Committee has a seat. The Design Review Board has one alternate. The DEI Steering Committee has one seat. Sidewalk and Bike Path Committee has 3 seats. Open Space Committee has a seat. The Registrar of Voters has one Republican rep seat, and the School Committee has 1 seat. If anybody is interested in volunteering on a board or committee, you are encouraged to fill out a talent bank form, which can be found on the Duxbury Town's website under Forms and Documents tab.
Madam Chair, if I may speak to boards and committees for just a quick moment.
Please.
On September 24th, that's a Thursday, the center will be hosting a volunteer fair for nonprofits in town, and the select board, in the form of me, will be there at a table for vacancies for municipal boards and committees.
Oh, great.
And Ashley's been kind enough to start the copier running for talent bank forms, so we will be represented as well on the 24th at the volunteer fair, which I understand is going to start at 4 p.m.
Cool.
Great, thank you. Thank you for doing that, Brian.
Happy to.
Yes.
Okay, we have some minutes.
I move that the Select Board approves the draft minutes from the executive session of the meeting of April 28th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Next.
I move that the Select Board approves the draft minutes from the open session meeting of June 15th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bonus shellfish
Yep. There,
season.
You're almost.
Any cohogs?
Almost blew it.
coming down. Hold on. Ah. Fingers aren't working very well. So. I move that the Select Board declare a temporary bonus shellfish season for the commercial harvesting of soft shell clams for the month of August, regulations as attached, and the commercial harvesting of quahog clams for the month of August, regulations as attached.
Well done.
Hey.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We're good. And some announcements or no?
There's no announcements, but I will announce that the next meeting of the Select Board is August 3rd.
August 3rd.
6:30 here in the Mural Room. We did not change the time.
That's correct. We may have an executive session at the beginning of that one, but we'll let you know. Regular time is 6:30.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.